Good morning. Hope everything is good in your world. I'm going to paint a picture today based on a memory from yesterday when I drove to Orlando. Now, this might not look like what I saw, but it's what my mind decided to paint this morning. And as you see right there, there was a little girl, and she was picking wildflowers. There was this I know Florida is flat, but there's a couple of places where there's some really nice rolling hills. And I was driving to Orlando early in the morning. I left here, it must have been 6:30. So it was just the beginning of the day. And there's a lot of places where there are campsites, if that makes sense, campgrounds. And there are a lot of places where people just stop to take a break from their drive. I don't know who the little girl was, or if she lived there, or if she was a visitor, but I saw her picking wildflowers. And that's really the entire thing. The morning glow of the sun, that was part of it too. So anyway, so I'll show you how I painted this. And got 3 poems today too. Do that right now. Good morning. How you doing? Today is Wednesday, May 22nd. And in Florida, it already feels like summer. But at the same time, it looks like spring. Does that make sense? Feels like summer, looks like spring. I guess. The whole state is named Florida because of, I guess it was Ponce de Leon who named it or something. It had something to do with the flowers. And so that's what I'm noticing as I drive around now, is all these flowers. They're everywhere. We have these plants around here called crepe myrtle plants. I don't know if you've ever seen them or not before, but they are beautiful. Robin compares them, I think she compares them to lilacs. And I don't know, I'm not a plant expert. But there's wildflowers also. So the wildflowers that I'm referring to are on the ground, like on the side of the road, drive past them, and sometimes you see little children or young people, young moms mostly, I guess. They look like moms. And they are picking the flowers. So yesterday I had to drive to Orlando, which is why I didn't do a video yesterday. And I had to leave very early. And as I'm driving, it's about an 80-mile drive from here. So as I'm driving, I'm noticing that very scene. Early in the morning, I'm seeing young people picking flowers. I said, why don't old people pick flowers? Well, I don't know. I should go pick some flowers. Some wildflowers. Well, maybe I will. It's only 5 o'clock in the morning right now, so it's pretty early. And Robin is still sleeping, so. We rode our bicycles the other day, and it was also very flowery out there. Very flowery. So, the painting today is going to be about picking wildflowers. I'm just roughly putting in like an orange sky. This is what I saw yesterday as I was driving to Orlando. I don't have a reference photo really, just a memory from yesterday's drive. So, all right, let's let that dry. I just want to put in a little tiny person here. Very small. I just wanted to have a sense that there's somebody down here. Somebody picking flowers. Just real simple, real small. So between here and Orlando, I know Florida is basically a flat state, but there are some hills. Trust me, when you ride a bicycle, you feel the hills. And you can definitely feel the hills. I have a story about that, but let me tell you about the yesterday first. So there's a couple of hills, especially like, I don't know exactly where that would have been. Claremont or someplace? I don't even want to try to guess because I'm going to get it wrong. Not sure where I saw the hills. But there's our little lady. The smallest sketch ever right there. And let that top part dry. So you see the hills, and as the sun, reaches across the land and creates all these little pockets of shadow and pockets of light. It's a beautiful thing. All right, let me do the bottom part because the top part has to dry. So I'll do around. I'll take some of this over here. I'm actually not using watercolor per se. I'm using gouache today. It's dried up on this paper here. See it? And some of it is fresh. I am squeezing some out of a tube, but mostly it's just dried from previous. That's what I like about watercolor and gouache. You can reactivate it. So just trying to brush in some greens and some yellows right around this little lady picking flowers here. And get it all around. So I do have some poems today that I found about wildflowers. So while we're letting it dry, I'll dig them out and tell you what they say. What these poets wrote about flowers. Just trying to make the grass a bunch of different colors here. And then we'll add the flowers in later on. Does that make sense? So yeah, the drive was beautiful. Here's the funny thing. You want to hear a traffic story? There was like no traffic at all for the bulk of my drive. I'm talking like 80 miles, and I even got to downtown Orlando. And there was really nothing to be, you know how traffic is. We hate traffic. Everybody hates traffic, and yet we're all part of it. I always think, why I hate this, but yet I'm one of them. One of these cars is my car. It's the one I'm in. So I was driving down and looking out the window, and I saw a couple of people picking flowers. I'm not going to try to reproduce exactly what I saw. Okay, what I wanted to say though is the sun was coming up. I was talking about traffic. I get so distracted by myself, don't I? I get so off topic sometimes. So anyway, it was beautiful, and the traffic. Let me get back to the traffic part of this conversation. The traffic was really good, except, now here's the big except the first 8 miles of my drive. Oh my gosh. I am not exaggerating. The first 8 miles of my drive took 1 hour. 1 hour. That is unbelievable. And then the other, 72 miles, whatever, I got done in like 90 minutes or whatever. Maybe a little bit longer than that. I'm not a fast driver. I mean, I drive the speed limit, but most other people don't. That's why I feel like I'm not a fast driver, because most other people don't drive the speed limit. It's incredible how many people pass me. There was a motorcycle yesterday that passed between my car and the car to my left. And I think you're allowed to do that. I don't think it's illegal, but it certainly seems unsafe. And he was going really fast. I was going probably 70. So he must have been going at least 85, I guess. And I know you probably don't think that's fast, because a lot of people drive that fast, but it's never been me. I'm just trying to put a bunch of different colors on here. Just trying to keep this little grassy area green, but also off green and dark. Put lots of areas on here. Alright, the background looks dry now. Can you see it? So let's get some of this blue, some of this dirty water, and put a couple of hills in the background. Yeah, this is gouache, but it is behaving like watercolor because I watered it down so much. So while I'm letting this dry, I'll read you one of those poems. I did not go to Orlando to go to the theme parks, by the way. No, I don't have a problem with the theme parks. Do you know what I heard, though? I heard that, and you tell me if you know this is true or not, but I heard that the lines, you know how you wait in a line at a theme park? Sometimes hours, which is crazy to wait hours, but people do. They wait hours. Just to ride a ride that takes 10 minutes maybe. So, but I heard that the lines rather, in Disneyland in California, I heard that those lines are not as long as the lines here in Florida at Disney World. I don't know if that's true. I went to Disneyland in 1977, so I have no reference. I cannot be a go-to person for that question. It's just somebody told me that. Somebody I know went to a wedding out in California and they decided to go to Disneyland. Now Walt Disney was an artist. He's an interesting artist, isn't he? Because he obviously had art skills, but he depended on other people mostly to do the art, right? I mean, he hired all these animators. Aaron Blaise is an animator you should check out if you've never watched his videos. He's incredible. He used to work as an animator for Disney. And in fact, if you want to learn animation, you just watch his videos and you'll learn something. But one of the things he recently did was he recently showed how to use the Procreate Dreams app. And that's an animation app that you can use. That's really, really nice. I tried it. It takes a lot of patience to do all that framework. Now there's a couple ways to speed up the process, to kind of, I don't want to say cheat, but yeah, there's a couple ways to cheat. I guess cheating is okay in that sense. But yeah, he's a good person to go to if you want to learn animation. And he's a super artist. Just unbelievable. So there's a recommendation for you. Okay. This was a little bit too purple there. I mean purple. I mean orange. Don't adjust your set. I meant orange. A lot of this will be darker. A lot of this will be darker. A lot of this will be lighter. Just want to get that watercolor effect in there. Okay, I'm going to let this dry out. I'll find one of those poems. Yeah, let that dry. Okay, we'll come back to this. We'll come back to that. So one of the poems is from a poet named Michelle Zimmerman. And this is what her poem is called. It's called Wildflowers. Wildflowers dance in the breeze. Nature's canvas, vibrant hues. A symphony of colors in meadows kissed by morning dew. I wander through this painted scene with hands that reach for blooms untamed. A gentle touch, a sweet caress. Their fragrance speaks. Their beauty famed. In fields where freedom knows no bounds, I gather treasures from the earth. Each petal tells a true story of life's wild grace, of simple mirth. Yeah. It's pretty nice. It's pretty true too. It's kind of what I saw yesterday. So, yeah, the world is, well, the northern hemisphere is entering into summer. It's almost summer. Yesterday I saw school buses out there, and I remembered when I was a kid. I remember when my son was little. And it was so exciting when summertime would come. When my son was younger, I used to take him camping every summer for a couple of weeks. My grandson, the one who calls me Poppa, I saw him yesterday. I brought him a book. He likes looking through telescopes. He's only 5, but he likes looking through telescopes. So I got him a book on Amazon. It's called 50 Things You Can See with Your Telescope for Kids. 50 things. And one of the things was called, listen to this, one of the things was called a hamburger galaxy. Have you ever heard of that? I never heard of that before. So I showed it to him, and he was wide-eyed and giggling a little bit because, you know, Papa likes to have fun. So he said, a hamburger galaxy. And he giggled, and I said, yeah, but what I really hope you can find is the cheeseburger galaxy. And of course that was better. That made him giggle more. That's why I like being a papa. That's why I like being a dad. If you're young and you have a young family, here's a recommendation. Don't worry, I'm not going to give you parenting advice, but I have an idea. I have something I'll tell you that I hope you use. And it is simply this. Write down the cute things that the kids say as soon as you can. When they say cute things, write them down. I did not do that, and I should have done that. There were so many things that were said. You know, so I write them down now when my little grandson says things. And I don't know if anybody else does, but I do. And see, that's still wet there. It's still bleeding in there. But we're not going to worry about it. We're not going to worry about it. It's the Bob Ross happy accident theory. The Bob Ross. I love that expression, the happy accident. All right, so what we want to do, so what I want to do is make everything dark, because I want the woman picking flowers to be very, like, bright. I want her to be the brightest spot on the whole thing. So I just have to keep layering it on here. I know I could have put it dark in the first place, but I like it. Whoops. Did I just mess up the camera? I don't know. Can you still see the picture? Top and bottom, bottom, top. Right? All right, we got a way to go. This is needing to be much darker. Let me add some blues. I purposely made that one orange. I probably could have lightened it a little bit. Let me see if I can add some yellow and some white to that. Kind of give it some personality, some texture. There we go. Did you ever see the bluegrass of Kentucky? Did you ever see the bluegrass? Did you ever see bluegrass at all? In Kentucky, the bluegrass state, right? I've been through Kentucky, and I always would say, where's the bluegrass? It looks green to me. And then one day, it was just somehow the way I was looking at it, I could tell, oh, now I get it. Now I get why they say that. It does look blue. Certain times of the day, certain angles. The reason I chose gouache is because I know I want to put light color on top of dark color. Yeah. Get some green to this. It's a little bit too contrasted right there. Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get it. It'll get there. Yeah, so thank you so much. So many of you have joined the Facebook group, and it's got a life of its own. I will tell you that I'm not an expert with that stuff. I created it so that we could share our art with each other, so that it wasn't all about the paintings I'm doing. I wanted to see yours, and you're doing a great job. And if I somehow didn't see, because I'm supposed to do something like approve things or whatever. So I because yesterday, like I said, I went to Orlando. I might have missed some. If I did, I did not intend to do that. So I apologize if you thought I did, first of all, but I didn't ignore anybody, or I didn't want to slight anybody. So far, nobody's been out of line. I will be the dad or whatever, and say you can't put that on here if it looks inappropriate. But no, nobody's done that. Everybody's been really good, and I've been reading the comments, and it's very sweet. You guys are nice. It's nice to be part of a nice group. It really is. So thank you for doing that. Like I said, it has a life of its own, and I'm going to ask Robin. Robin knows more about those things than me. I'm going to ask her if she can help me figure out a way. Maybe there's a way where I don't have to approve everything, where you can just post on there. I think there might be a way to do that. If Robin doesn't know, I know somebody younger in my family must know. Yeah. I'm purposely doing it this almost like pointillism thing here. Alright, let me get some of that yellow in there. You know what? I think I'll add a little bit of red to that. Just kind of poke it in there. Okay, so now it's just a bunch of colors. It's really just, you know, like 4 different areas. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the little spot for the lady. So let's start adding some darker things to create some trees here. And I'll come back to them and make them darker. It used to be when I would drive long distances, I would listen to the radio. And I guess as I got older, I stopped doing that as much. I mean, I listened to it all the time. But not yesterday, I didn't. I did a little bit, and then I turned it off. I was just enjoying the wind. I was by myself, so it was a great drive. There's so much in Orlando to see that's beyond the theme parks. You see, now that little woman looks really small. A little bit of perspective going on here. So let some of this dry and I'll read you one of the other poems I found. I think I have one from Robert Frost. Let's see what Robert Frost has to say about wildflowers. I'm going to put little trees here. Did I tell you the other day, Robin and I went walking, and we were going over a bridge in the metropolitan area of the town I live in, Ocala. And there's a water retention area right next to the bridge. Just a place where the water gathers when it rains. And apparently, this particular one never dries up. It stays wet all the time. And we were just looking at it. There were some ducks in it, and it was kind of fun to watch the ducks. And then we saw an alligator in the water. It's like in a retention pond. You know, we live in Florida, and we know that there are gators like everywhere. But I honestly didn't expect to see one in a retention area, like a reservoir, whatever you want to call it. And it was big. It was not a little alligator. The whole thing is fenced in, too. So how did it get in there, do you think? I climbed the fence, maybe? I don't know. I took some pictures of it, and so did Robin. We put them on Facebook, and the people who live here were kind of like amazed, like, whoa, is this a gator in there? Now they're probably all going over there to look at it, right? But they say in Florida, if there's water, there's going to be a gator. Robin's brother has a little pond. He stocks it with catfish. I know. And he likes to catch them, and he likes to invite us over to eat them. And I'm not a big catfish fan, but it is fun to videotape them catching fish. Yeah. We've gone up there when the kids were little, and when I say up there, he lives about 80 miles north. Yeah, we went up there and took video of them catching fish. It was fun. You know what the best part of fishing is? It's the tail. T-A-L-E. Get it? The best part of fishing is the tail. It's the story we tell later on. You go fishing. So, alright, let's just keep working on this. Just keep adding things, making it darker. It's starting to come to life, I guess. I'm going to let some of this dry. I'll read you the Robert Frost poem. From a composition point of view, I want this to be dark at the bottom. I guess try to weigh it down. Dark at the bottom, light at the top. And definitely dark around the young woman so we can see her. It's already starting to happen. So, all right, let me go to the next poem. It's Robert Frost. It's called Gathering Wildflowers. And this should dry while I'm done, while I'm reading this. Can you see the painting? Is it still in the picture? The wildflower is the handkerchief of the Lord, drawn from the folds of his robe, pressed to his face amid the stench of sin. Oh, wow. And as he passes, then each flower brings forth the fragrance of an earlier world or a later one. And we, who in this journey of life collect these treasures by the way, make of our souls a garden and of our lives a fragrant bouquet. Oh wow, it's a little on the heavy side. The heavy side. Did you ever see the play Cats? The heavy side layer. Do you remember that line? The heavy side layer. I think that's what they called heaven. I think. I don't know. Was that T.S. Eliot who wrote that? I think so. Cats. I had the vinyl album. That's how far back this goes. The vinyl album for Cats. And I liked the songs. But to be honest with you, when I saw the play on, I didn't see it in person. I saw it on video. So I didn't really stay. It didn't really keep me. It kind of lost me a little bit. But I do like the songs. I don't know that I understand it. I don't even know. I don't even know if I think I might have missed something there. But I kind of like the song. What was that song? Memory. Remember that one? That was a good one. All right, I'm just trying to make this a little darker down here. And then we can add some of those wildflowers. The whole point of the picture is the wildflowers, right? Just kind of add a little more green, a little more orange. We put some dots of trees back here on this hill. It's a little exaggerated, to be honest. It didn't really look like this yesterday, but I kind of went overboard with the hills. But there are some hills. There's a vineyard on the way down. I can't remember what little town it's in, but the vineyard is a very hilly area. It's called Lake Ridge Winery. If you're ever in the area, it's a great tour too. It's a short little tour. Doesn't take long. But if you like to drink wine, there's a lot of sampling opportunities there. And sometimes they have events. I was going to say parties, but I think events is probably a better word. They have events, they feel like parties. And, you know, they have music and food and everything you might expect from a party or from an event. I shouldn't turn it too much because it gets messed up on the camera. So all of these little areas are just simply where the land creates shadows. I just want to create that effect of the shadow, almost like a dappled light look. I like that orange hill in the middle there. I wasn't sure I liked it. All right, let me take the little tiny brush now. See if I can make that lady look like a lady. As long as she's got... I'll take a little bit of this orange here. Just a tiny little dab. Very tiny. Very tiny. Okay, I gotta let that tiny little dab of orange dry. And then I want to put some, hopefully I can get a little bit of flowing hair coming down from her. Maybe she's got a basket to hold the flowers. It's also very tiny. All right, I have to let that dry. I have to let those little tiny spots dry, but now it starts to look more like a person, right? It's very impressionistic. All right, while we're waiting for that, let's go ahead and put some red flowers into this field here. You think it's ready for that? I don't think it's ready yet. I think it needs to be darker before I start doing that. Yeah, I do. I think it needs to be darker. I think it needs to be darker around her. I think everything probably needs another layer on it. I think the whole painting's needing a little depth to it. I'm gonna let some of this dry. I'll read the third poem. I have a third poem. Let's keep adding the little depth to these trees here. Maybe I could even add some dark green to this. Make it a little bit more, because it is green. The sun is shining on them. Some of this yellow in there. The yellow hits the trees on the edge. But the sunlight hits the tree and makes it look yellow. Little dabs here and there. See that yellow does really, it's a pretty cool trick there. That yellow and that orange here. Put some down here too. Bring some of that light color stuff and mix it with the dark. So sometimes I give the cards to people. They will, the image on the card will start a conversation, and it's going to be interesting to hear what this one does. I'm thinking that the person who gets this will say, "Oh gosh, when I was a little girl, I used to pick wildflowers with my mother. Or when I was a little boy, I used to pick wildflowers with my mom or my dad or my grandma or my papa." Yeah, my son and his wife, they have some nice flowers in their yard. Oh my gosh. They are good. They're good at that. That's a skill too. We have in my community, I don't mean Robert and I, but I mean in our community, there's a garden called Bob Wines. Bob Wines is the man who started it. He died, but his garden continues. It's Bob Wines Camellia Gardens. And a lot of people go there to buy plants, of course. But a lot of people go there just to walk around. That's one thing I think maybe would be fun to do, would be to do some paintings, some close-ups of some of the different flowers that are out there. I seem to like to do landscapes and distant paintings, but I think it would be fun to do some close-ups. I did a close-up of a watermelon last week or so, because I was in the mood for watermelon. It's funny how the season affects what you want to paint, right? Or like in this case, it was just a simple drive. 80 miles one way, 80 the other. There, little shadow. You see a little bit of the girl there. Let me try and add a little tiny hint of her fingers, her arm. And keep it all. She's picking flowers. Now, so far we don't have very many flowers in here for her to pick, but we're going to do it. Now, the other thing is the white, which is basically her dress, has got some pencil marks in it, so I'm going to have to do something about that. But in the meantime, let's get some bright yellow and some bright red. And you know what? I should get out the white also. I got some titanium white here. We'll start to add some flowers in here. There's my white. There's some yellow. Sorry if my big hand's in the way. Here's some red. Here we go. All right, here come the flowers. Here they come. Just little dots. Little dots all over the place. A little bit bigger in the foreground. A little bit smaller in the background. Get some orange dots in there too. There's lots of flowers. Just place them all over the place. Get some red in there. Somebody was asking me the other day if I do digital art. And I do digital art. I used to, oh my gosh. Robin writes children's books. And I have illustrated them. And it's just something we've done on our own. It's like nothing big time. Just, we self-publish them on Amazon. And it's kind of fun. I helped the pastor and his wife. They wrote a book and I illustrated their book. And she wrote a book, well, they wrote a book called Grandma's Music Box. And they used it as a fundraiser for they have mission trips that they do. I think they have one they're working on right now to go to Alaska. Everybody likes to go to Alaska. I've never been there. But anyway, so I painted, with digital, I painted the illustrations for that book. I can't remember how many illustrations it was, but it was fun. You have to take the story and pull it apart, and I don't mean analyze it. I mean like separate it into what passage would make a nice illustration. Am I going overboard with these flowers? Am I putting too many on here? I want to put some close here. Maybe I'll put some more dark areas around here. Yeah, she's just in a field of flowers here. There's lots of little places where she could bend down and put a flower in her basket. I'll put some in her basket for her. Just a little tip. It's almost like I'm using one hair at a time from the brush. Well, there we go. To be honest with you, I think the flowers I saw were purple yesterday. But this looks nice. Red, yellow, white. It's kind of like Christmas lights, right? You have a choice. Do you do multicolor or do you do all one color? Alright, I'm going to say it's done. What do you think? Do you think I need to add any darkness to it? Well, I can't do anything until it dries. So let me read the last poem. It's by Mary Oliver. It's called Wildflower Harvest. I'll center the painting unless I read it. In the fields of summer's end, where wildflowers bloom and sway, I wander with an open heart to gather blooms from nature's play. Each flower tells a whispered tale of sunshine, rain, and earth's embrace. I take them gently in my hand, their simple beauty soft and chaste. In this bouquet, a piece of sky, a touch of morning, dusk's soft glow. a memory of a fleeting time when wildflowers in the meadows grow. There we go. Wildflowers. I'll let it dry and then I'll fold it. Let me turn off the camera. I'll turn it back on when it's dry. There we go. I folded it. What do you think? That'll make somebody a nice card. I do think I should erase a little bit of pencil mark that's still left on her dress. There, that's all it took. That's all it took. Now I know she's not a perfectly drawn or perfectly painted little girl, but there she is. Can you see her? All right. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing and all those great things you guys are doing. And don't forget, there's a Facebook group. I will try to be better as a better administrator of that group. But there we go. All right. See you later. Bye.